and the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and it is Saturday, and you know what that means? It's time for all the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interest you, and we got a big week of the toy news, maybe the biggest week we've had in quite some time, 3 pages of notes to get through today, and I did do a bonus toy news video this week on April Fool's Day, covering the GI Joe classified reveal from the Hasbro live stream, so check that out if you did miss that. And before we get too deep into it, a little bit of housekeeping. Jay'sToysAndGames.com. Use code Kyle. Save yourself 15% on all in-stock items. Yes, 15%. And you eagle-eyed viewers, you got to follow me on social media. Subscribe to my YouTube. Subscribe to the Patreon as well. As I did post a note, hey guys, in stock on Jay's right now, Pinnacle Series 1, cheaper with the code Kyle to save yourself 15%. Cheaper than what Zombie Sailor was selling them for. So, got to get a deal in full effect there. You know I got a deal along the way as well. You'll see that in weekly purchases. But Jay's, sponsor of the channel here, giving the deals out to everybody. Plenty of Heels and Faces figures over there. Mattel Elites, Marvel Legends, GI Joe, you name it. Everything over there at Jay's. Check them out. Make sure you do save them for your buying needs. There you go. But shout out to Jay's Toys and Games. And like I said, you'll see a lot of stuff tomorrow in weekly purchases from Jay's Toys and Games. Last week, we did giveaways. It was the 6-year anniversary of the channel, the 300th edition of the toy news, and all kinds of stuff. A year of my podcast, you name it. Giveaway winner, you got to email TheKylePetersonShow at gmail.com, and I will get this out to you. It is the Rock 2-pack WWE Superstars, and it goes to one spectacular Super Mario. So glad to give back to Super Mario there, but spectacular Super Mario, make sure you email TheKylePetersonShow at gmail.com. And I'll get that sent your way. So thank you for entering the giveaway. Thanks to everybody. Have another giveaway in weekly purchases tomorrow. We'll announce the winner for. So make sure you're checking that. And speaking of giveaway, your best way to support the channel, Patreon. This month's Patreon giveaway is a 4-pack Major Stars Series 2, All Ego, Ethan Page, Jordan Grace, Sergeant Slaughter, and 1 Sabu. You can get those 4 figures. It is the Patreon giveaway for the month of April. Check out Patreon, your best way to support the channel. Plenty of content over there. All kinds of stuff to keep you busy. But that's enough housekeeping. Let's get down to the toy news. Let's start wrestling. Let's start with WWE Mattel. And there was a lot of word this week that WWE, AAA, we're finally going to get some Mattel figures. Is it true? Apparently in numerous places reporting that we're going to see those. We're going to see Mr. Iguana first is the rumor. Now that did go up, I think, on Walmart on April Fool's Day. I wouldn't think it would be an April Fool's Day trick, but we've seen some shenanigans with Walmart and things like Bad Bunny, Jelly Roll, which apparently is coming too. We'll see what happens. I did see a Facebook comment, or was it Instagram, one or the other, from one Bill McKenna from Mattel that said, that's news to me. So I don't know if Bill's just playing along or it's misreported. I'm not exactly sure, but it's something to stay close to. And let's be honest here. WWE owns AAA. You don't think they're going to want to monetize it? What should be the motto of this channel? Follow the money. If they feel there's money to be made, they're going to go after it, especially in this world, in this day and age. So make sure you're checking up on that. I guess if you want Mr. Iguana, I wouldn't be shocked to see something, maybe WrestleMania weekend or something along those lines. So we'll see what ends up happening, but much more on that in the future. This week, quite the live stream over there at the Fig Guys. Check out the Fig Guys, Instagram, social media, YouTube channel, podcast. They're doing it all, like this channel, Todd McFarlane, just like this channel. But they had one Magnum TA, and you know we got a lot to talk about in this Powertown update, so stay tuned for that. But we got a few other people in our crosshairs, too, that we are calling out. We're doing the hardcore journalism on this channel here. We got a few companies to call out later in this video, including Powertown, let me tell you. But we did see that Fig Guys this week with Magnum, but he also had Magic and Steve for the Mattel team there, and some eagle-eyed viewers saw Demolition Coliseum Collection in the background on Steve's display. So it looks like Coliseum Collection Ultimates of Demolition is coming. Makes all the sense in the world, but doesn't make sense in the world, Todd, because Coliseum Collection is supposed to be based on LJN. We never got a Smash LJN, so I feel like they shouldn't be putting Smash into this. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, because why would you do just Axe again? but maybe Axe and Mr. Fuji, I don't know. But at the end of the day, we need Ultimate Demolition. That's what it's about. So hip hip hooray. Can we get a hip hip hooray? Anybody out there? Come on. But it makes sense, I guess. But it feels weird because now this opens up the Coliseum collection to Ultimates that weren't LJNs. I mean, you've already broke the mold once, so let's see what we get in the future. So going to be interested to see where that goes. Fully expecting to see those. Must be revealed around WrestleMania. More on that. Of course, be a ringside exclusive. Use code Kyle, save 10%, I would have to imagine. But pretty cool to see that. We also saw Macho Man in the background, but that's been there before. That's that canceled Ultimate Macho Man, which I don't think we're ever going to get, because the rumor is, a little birdie told me on the streets that maybe all of those were destroyed. So that sucks, but what are you going to do? You're not going to sit with warehouses of that stuff. You can't sell it. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future, but I fully expect one day we'll see the Macho Man back there in Mattel. It makes all the sense in the world. He's going to keep working the third-party companies and stuff, and he'll come home to Mattel, WWE eventually. Follow the money once again, and I fully expect we will get that Macho in the future. They got all the tooling, everything. I'm sure we'll see it. So more on that in the future. And then speaking of ringside, we talked about them. A lot of pre-orders up this week. Ultimate 32, Jake the Snake Roberts, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and one Jacob Fatu back again. That's going to make some people happy that didn't get the ring once upon a time. Elite 127, the return of Alexa Bliss. I kind of forgot about her in figure form. It's been a while since we've had Alexa Bliss. Bronson Reed, a lot of people wanting Bronson Reed, so that makes a lot of sense. John Cena, no stranger to the line. Sami Zayn, no stranger, but been a while since we've got an Elite Sami Zayn. Nathan Frazier, first time in the Elite line. And then we got JC Mateo, first time in any line. So hopefully he has his face paint, but I know some people want a Jeff Cobb looking figure, but we'll see where it ends up going. But we got those. We also saw upcoming retros. We got Dominic Mysterio, Rhea Ripley, and the Great Muta. Oh my gosh, can we get a Terry Funk retro to go with that Great Muta? Come on, what are we doing here? But we got those up around the corner. Main event 167 with Asuka, her first ever main event style figure. We got Goldberg and Stone Cold. Oh, it's the Monday Night Wars in Elite, or I should say main event 167. We saw Gunther and Jacob Fatu going to be in that wave as well. And we also saw main event showdown, R-Truth John Cena 2-pack. That's an interesting one. Roman Braun Breaker kind of is what it is. And then CM Punk and Gunther 2-pack. So some pretty good 2-packs out of the main event showdown list right there. And that's the Mattel news. Unfortunately, no Jazzwares news this week from AEW. Is what it is. I guess silence is golden or something. Well, I shouldn't say there's no news. The latest Unrivaled series, Unmatched series did just ship from Ringside. So if you ordered that, it is shipping. So we should have those reviews fairly soon here on the channel, sometime next week. So stay tuned for that as well. How about a little big rubber, guys? How about a little collect major discussion? We saw the big event, was it the big event? Was that what it was in Indianapolis? Hard to keep these things together. But we did see Pro Wrestling Tees showing off a big rubber guy of Jushin Thunder Liger. That's playing a lot of hits for a lot of people. That should be a good seller for them. Looks to be a Pro Wrestling Tees exclusive. No news on when and where and all that. We'll stay tuned to that here in the future. We did see this week the Young Stallions, Jim Powers and Paul Roma. I saw so many matches of them as a kid. House shows where they were the first tag team match. You know, they'd usually win against some jobber tag team or against like the Orient Express type stuff. But obviously, if you were a fan of WWE during that time, you knew the Young Stallions. They were pretty well known, but obviously a little bit lower card down with the Iron Mike Sharps of the world in some ways. But cool to get them here. Limited edition of 750, which makes a lot of sense as well. Don't want to do a big production run on those. A lot of people looking for Paul Roma and Hercules. I have to imagine that's coming in the future, but they wanted to get this one out there. And of course, yeah, I need Paul Roma. Maybe we won't get that one. I'll buy this, and then they'll get that one in the future. We know that game by now. It's a game as old as time in the action figure game, but we got those coming. I got my order in. Apparently, as of filming right now, there was less than 100 of those left. So if you're after some Young Stallions, and aren't we all after some Young Stallions? Todd, I saw you chasing a couple of Young Stallions the other day at the old Italian sub shop. So more on that at 11, I guess. But looking pretty good as far as those go. A little plain, but it is what it is with those. So if you need them, you guys know where to go. Collect major. And rumors out there might be another drop this month. I kind of wonder if maybe this is the month we see the ECW figures as a in-stock drop. Would love to see the big rubber guy ECW figures this month. We'll stay tuned to that as well. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see. And then, unfortunately for the big rubber guys out there, it sounds like no Midnight Express figures anytime soon. Jim Cornette kind of went off on the big rubber guys, Matt Cardona and his friend. And I know how it feels. Brian Myers, he's called Brian the other guy, the lackey, the friend. I've known in some circles as David C. Anderson's long hair friend. So I understand that as well. So Brian Myers and I are in the same position. Tough to be long hairs like us. But Jim Cornette making it pretty obvious he doesn't want anything to do with Collect Major. So that is unfortunate because Jim, usually a guy that would want to follow the money unless this is a big angle, but we'll see what happens in the future. But a bummer, we're not going to have Midnight Express and Jim Cornette to go against that Rock and Roll Express. That would be a pretty fun shelf, if you ask me. Who knows? Somebody could talk to each other. Maybe they can make it happen in the future. We'll see what happens. But, he being Jim Cornette, is very protective of his FTC figures. For right or wrong, he's protective. I have a couple of those Cornettes. I display them with my Jakks Classic Midnight Express. Works very well. Pro tip out there. But he did put his own money down, so I think he was a little mad when the majors were saying these are terrible figures and stuff, which unfortunately they, for the most part, are. And it feels like he's taking money out of his wallet and stuff. So I see both sides of it, but at the end of the day, money answers a lot of things. So we'll see what happens in the future. But speaking of big rubber guy style figures, this week I had the world premiere unboxing on April Fool's Days of all day from the Wrestling Giant series, the Toon Stars. Andre the Giant from Latuni. So check out that review. Pretty cool to get the old cartoon in action figure form. We know we got Macho Man and a Ric Flair in that stylization in the future. Going to be interested to see where that line goes. It would be great to have the whole gang from the cartoon. Unfortunately, just not possible, as we do know. But cool for what it is, and I give Latuni a lot of points for doing something different. Constant learning, constant understanding, constant change, constant turnover. I like that. I like that a whole lot. So good for them to try something different. We're here for it. They also announced this week, or I guess we've known, but coming to production very soon, Everest Andre the Giant. So another Andre, one of the giant Andre is what this will be. He will have head articulation on him there. So we got that one coming. They also announced Bad News Brown, who no stranger to action figures over the last couple of years, getting a lot right now with his Hall of Fame looming here in a couple of weeks. So Bad News will be coming to Latuni. So we'll see what they do with Bad News. Can't wait to see where that ends up going. And speaking of bad news, KWK, that is the April pre-order, Bad News Brown ×2. These look really, really good. I can't wait to get these here at the table. Really like the looks of that. You get one with the sewer rat, one with the vest, which was a deep Bad News cut. I'm here for that in April. We also saw Jameson. This is an all-timer. This is so cool. As I've said before, love the Bobby Heenan show when I was a little kid. Love it now, in all honesty. And Jameson, a big part of that. Obviously, you can pair him up with the Bushwhackers. There's a lot of uses for this Jameson. And if you were around in that time frame, you know what I'm talking about. So that does look pretty good. Can't wait to get him in the collection. And then a little world premiere picture here today on the Toy News. A little sample action from Dory Funk Jr., which is around the corner, playing all the hits. You had me at Funk. Yep, Funk, Flash Funk, Terry Funk, Dory Funk, Hoss Funk. We want the funk. Yeah, any kind of funk. I'm here for it. I'm here for the funk. So this looks really good. 2 versions, as we do know. Love the looks of those. We also saw a little bit from Grapplers and Gimmicks this week. Orange Card Bastion Booger. So we got Bastion Booger returning to Retro. We had him from Zombie once upon a time. Now we got him from Grapplers and Gimmicks. And speaking of Zombie this week, he did put a limited amount of PJ Polaco, Aldo Montoya up on his website. He had a limited. He's got more coming in the future. So that did go up. So it was good to see that one. And as I talked about Zombie Sailor Toys, Jay's had the Pinnacle series this week. I posted on social media and stuff. They flew out of there. But plenty of other Heels and Faces figures and future Pinnacle waves coming to Jay's Toys and Games. Use code Kyle. Save yourself 15% on all in-stock items. Got to get a deal once again. But we got some of the bad stuff. I said we got some investigative journalism to talk about. And I don't know how deep the investigation goes, Todd McFarlane. Todd's got his magnifying glass and doing one of those. And I love the Sherlock Holmes hat you got on over there as well. Looking good, old Todd McFarlane. But we're going to dive into a few things here. And we're going to start with Zombie Sailor Toys. You guys remember Owen Hart retro figure? What the heck ever happened to that one? It was solicited. I think pre-orders ended in mid-May of 2025. But if I'm not mistaken, they said they were going to arrive around Valentine's Day 2025. But when was the last time we heard anything about that Owen Hart figure? We've had 0 updates on that. Is it still coming? Is it lost? Is it forgotten about? And there's so many figures coming at us at all times. We forget about these things. And I think a lot of people have forgotten about this Owen Hart. Where is it? What's the status update? Now, love the zombie stuff, but I've taken it to task over the last year or so on the channel about Pinnacle, The Road Warriors, I just got my shipping for Road Warriors. So those are finally shipping. But there's really no updates. And we've seen with Powertown onto the extreme level, no updates, not a good thing. You can at least say something. Hey, we've ran into some issues. It'll still come, but now it's going to be March, which would mean April now. But a little bit of news wouldn't hurt, I don't think. A little transparency goes a long way to your fan base and consumer base. So hopefully we hear something on Owen Hart very soon, or we get shipping, but nothing going out. Now, Pro Wrestling Tees, it wasn't exclusive to them. So I'm not sure if Zombie Sailor is pulling the Mattel defense on WWE Superstars, where we've talked about it before. People complain about Mattel and the WWE Superstars. Now, you got to blame Walmart, not Mattel, because here's how that works. Here's how the sausage is made. I'm not telling Todd anything he doesn't know, but I do see a sausage over there, Todd. But what happens is Walmart says, hey, WWE Superstars, you got this talent, Series 18, whatever it is. We want X amount. Mattel says, are you sure you don't want any more? They say, nope, that's what I want. Mattel makes it, gives it to Walmart, and Mattel does one of these. It's a Walmart exclusive. I don't really got to worry about anything. It's over. I don't have to worry about pushing it to other retailers and everything else. Mattel did their part. It's Walmart's problem now. That's where I'm guessing Heels and Faces Owen Hart is Pro Wrestling Tees' problem. Zombies laying in the weeds. Well, it's a Pro Wrestling Tees exclusive. Yes, I'm making it for them, but it's them to answer people of what's going on. It's not my job. So I do see that side of it as well, but they did take a pre-order on that. It wasn't like Pro Wrestling Tees said, give me 2,000 of these, and it's like that. There was a pre-order system and all that. So I don't know where you guys sit on that side of the fence on that, but I hope we hear something on Owen sooner rather than later. But speaking of other things, and maybe ill-timed, I would say, I think that's being generous. April Fool's Day was this week, and hopefully nobody got fooled. I didn't get fooled one time, and I won't get fooled again like a young Pete Townsend or John Entwistle or Keith Moon or maybe even Roger Daltrey. Who knows? But we did see April Fools. Rush Collectibles, remember them? They posted on Instagram, going out of business sale, auction starting at like $1 on Whatnot or something. And I'm pretty sure that was a joke. I didn't really follow up on that, but pretty bad business move there for Rush because I don't have anything owed from them, so I don't really have any hands in the fire like I have with a lot of other companies, but I do know some people have stuff. There's some off the beaten path stuff as far as Kickstarters and things that I don't really follow or didn't really know about that apparently are still looming out there. I don't think that Spellbinder figure ever went out, so there's things that are owed to people that haven't been received, obviously, and then you say going out of business and there's a lot of concerns. So not a good move, I don't think, even if it's trying to be a ha-ha joke, but I think there's some people that are burned. But let's be honest, a lot of people complained about Pinnacle, maybe just me, I don't know. People complaining about Powertown pretty heavy the last 6 months or so. But a lot of us, myself included, I got about $1,000 wrapped up in Powertown. I don't have anything in Rush, so I'm going to pay attention to it. But I think few people have money tied up compared to Powertown. We're still not a ton of people in the grand scheme of things. It's a little bit more top of mind, I do think. But shame on Rush for that because there is some people with some hard feelings and things like that just make it worse. I don't know why you'd want to poke the bear on your consumer. It never goes well. It's kind of like talking politics or something with your consumer. You don't see the company like Oreo or Kraft Foods come out and say, I love that Donald Trump. You don't see that very often. If they do or they don't, I don't know, or do they care? I'm not exactly sure. I don't work for that company anymore. I haven't for over 10 years. I don't know how they feel about it, but you're going to divide your portfolio. You're going to divide your consumer. So you got to be careful on that kind of stuff. And I think Rush playing all the hits in the wrong way as far as I'm concerned on that one there. But speaking of so many hits that have been played for so many years here on the channel, let's keep the hits coming like a young Mike Nesmith. It's time for the Powertown Update.
Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering?
All right, it's time for the Powertown Update. We got a lot to talk about here, and I even got a little special video sent to me this week, Todd McFarlane. You're not going to believe this one, and we'll get to that here in a second. But as we mentioned earlier on the channel, the Fig Guys Podcast YouTube channel, they did have one Magnum TA. And did you know what TA stands for? Yep, Terry Allen. I thought you were going to say something else. Good on you, Todd. You're learning through osmosis here. But old Magnum was on there, and Magnum was a chatterbox. He was chatting like crazy. The host of the show didn't get a whole lot of words in as far as Magnum. They just kind of let Magnum do his thing, and Magnum just went. It was like me at a board meeting at work or something. I'm just going to go. Kyle, can we get a minute to talk? No, I'm still going. That's kind of how Magnum was in a lot of ways. But Magnum said a lot, but said very little in a lot of that. It was basically what you'd imagine it to be, but Magnum did say he did confirm all the news out there that we talked about last week. He is no longer with Powertown. He is no longer a part of them anymore. He is gone from the company, as is Greg Gagne. He's an outsider now. So apparently he can talk a little bit more freely because he's an outsider. What happened to all those NDAs they were talking about on that fall podcast they were on? There's NDAs all over the place. Apparently Magnum didn't have an NDA on the way out. Not sure exactly, but it really does come down to follow the money is what Magnum said. Magnum pretty much confirmed everything we already thought and everything we already knew and we've talked about on the channel forever. But one thing that was interesting, he said he was never paid by Powertown. He was basically a consultant. So him and Steve apparently really kicked it off in this negotiations and all that kind of stuff of talent with Greg Gagne, and they talked to Magnum, and Steve and Magnum must have became friends, hit it off, and then Steve said, I really want Magnum in the company. So he was basically a glorified consultant, and it was interesting not knowing anything about action figures to be a consultant on action figures, but I think he was more there as to give a little love to the legends they were trying to sign. Oh, Magnum's involved. Well, Magnum's a stand-up guy. Magnum's a good guy. Maybe I will get involved in this. I think Magnum was used in a lot of ways, and I honestly don't know if Magnum sees it that way, but I do feel that they used Magnum and even Greg Gagne for their connections and everything else to try to get this rolling. Because it sounds like Steve's a heck of a nice guy. Magnum said multiple times he's got the energy of a 20-year-old and all this. But a lot of those salesmen out there, you're coming to a salesman right here. I'm a salesman. I've been in sales for many, many years, decades. I can't believe it, Todd McFarlane. But, people buy from people they like. Steve is always going to be like. He could have the worst day ever. He could be sitting in the car like, oh my gosh, my dog died, my grandpa died, and then there's a sale comes through and he turns it on. He turns on the charm, and that's what you got to do in a sales position for the most part. Now, you can be authentic in the same way as I am, but it is, of course I am, Todd. What are you talking about? But it's a little rough there for Magnum. I do think they were used in a lot of ways, and I don't know if Magnum sees it that way, but from where I sit right here at this table, you guys know where I'm sitting, I feel that is the case there. But he was never paid. He made mention of that. He was like a non-paid consultant, which, Magnum, why are you working for free? Nobody rides for free, Todd McFarlane. But it was interesting to see that. He wasn't paid, and I wouldn't expect any payment anytime in the soon. He did say steel is cut on Ultra Series 2. Steel is cut on TNA. Whenever you say the steel is cut, I always think of like bodybuilders on Venice Beach or something. Like they're just cutting steel. They're just lifting it. But apparently they got that stuff made. They just haven't produced anything. We've been saying that for the last year plus, that nothing has even came close to being produced. We also heard that Remcos are all ready to ship. Now, is Magnum just seeing that? Because I don't think Steve, Magnum, Greg, Donnie Anderson, we'll get to Donnie Anderson in a little bit, Todd. I don't think any of them have been over to China to the factory to see these things that are produced. Maybe there was a picture, I don't know, but they say the Remcos are produced and they're just waiting to be shipped. Now, they don't have the money to ship is the long story here, but how much does it cost to ship? Because let's be honest, the Remcos, let's say they sold 5,000 units. I mean, it costs something to ship. It's coming by air, which it won't. It'll come by boat no matter what. Save money. I'll follow the money once again. It costs a lot of money, but it's a drop in the hat. And Steve apparently is like a multi-millionaire from his years in toys. You don't think Steve would fit the bill to get those there. I know you don't want to fit your own money into something. You want it to come from the business funds. But the name of Powertown has been besmirched to another level, as we know, over the last 3-4 years. He's going to need to make good. And apparently Steve is working hard, and Donnie Anderson too. Don't forget Donnie Anderson. They're working hard trying to get people to fund Powertown. And who is going to fund Powertown? All they got to do is Google Boomerang, Relatively Worldwide, Powertown Wrestling. And they're just going to see terrible comment after terrible comment. I'd say, do I really want to stick $1 million into this? I don't know if I want to do that. Or should I buy a Jersey Mike's franchise? What do I want to do? I don't know. But I don't know how they're going to get money, because anybody that's willing to put, let's just call it $1 million. I don't know what it would be, but I want to put $1 million to be part of Powertown. You don't think they're going to look at, see what's going on, as basically you're going to have to start this company all over again. You're going to have to try to woo the people and win back the consumer. And Todd, stop me if you've heard this before. You lose a customer a loaf at a time. You get them back a slice at a time. And Powertown should make shirts, because they're going to be living that motto very, very soon. Because it's going to take, and you got to start with the heel, the piece of bread nobody ever wants to eat. That's where you got to try winning them back on. So can you imagine trying to convince them to buy the heel and eat the heel? That's what Powertown's looking at. It's a great analogy. Feel free to use it, Todd McFarlane, like I said. But I just don't see it happening. Who's going to fund this? Who's going to do it? I don't see it. But I'm worried about these Remcos. I can't imagine any factory saying, yep, we'll just sit on that pallet for you. You know, it's been a year plus at this point. We'll keep sitting on it though. They're going to say, we've shipped this to AliExpress, or we've shipped it to Temu. We've shipped it to Ross. That's what happened, RossCon. I don't know where that's going to go, but they make it sound, and they being Magnum, make it sound like Remcos are all ready to go. They're just waiting to pull the trigger, and the tariffs hurt them, but they took the money way before the tariffs. There's so many shenanigans left and right. I don't even know if Magnum understands the truth, and I think a little of the con man game has went down to Magnum, and Magnum said nothing but good things about Powertown and Steve and stuff, so kudos to Magnum. But man, it's just a bad scene across the board. They said there was some issues early on, and he should have known things were wrong with the hiccup, and I'm not sure if that's the hiccup of them losing line time. We heard that a long time ago. We also heard about their person overseas that was kind of managing the factory for them. I heard rumors that guy just up and quit, and the Powertown team didn't even know for like 2 months that he had quit. So nothing happened for 2 months, and I think that might have been part of it. I'm not sure. He didn't get too deep into the specifics of that, but obviously none of it is any good, as we have seen. But they're trying to get investors like crazy, and I think that's where we see Steve doing, like, trying to work the magic, trying to get investors, do all he can. And Magnum even said there, you know, he said like a young Crowbar. You guys know about Crowbar, Kirk Winstein? He said, all I had, I gave. Reciting some Crowbar lyrics there. Magnum looks like a huge Crowbar fan, I do think. I enjoy a little Crowbar from time to time. But Magnum just came off really well. I mean, Magnum's a nice enough guy when he talks, but I feel like Magnum doesn't realize he got the wool pulled over him a little bit there. As he got set up to fail from the get-go, because take the step back, Magnum, you talked in this about how you're in the telecom industry, which a complicated industry, I have to imagine. I can't imagine me building cell towers and plans and figuring all that kind of stuff out. But it's a world that I don't live in, and most of us probably don't. Magnum lives that world. He understands it. It makes sense for Magnum to be a consultant on that. But just because Magnum was a wrestler doesn't mean, you know, you played a doctor on TV, you could be a doctor. It's kind of like wrestling. It's just you were a wrestler, but does that mean you know what the action figure market is and what the wrestling action figure market needs here in 2022, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever years we're talking about with Powertown? I don't feel like Magnum had that. I think he was just in over his head from the get-go and was fooled by a lot of things, and I do feel like he was used in a lot of things. But Magnum's sitting here like, my hands are clean now. I still feel there's blood on Magnum's hands. Magnum, you were a huge part of this for years. Just because you don't work for him anymore, it's like, you know, I killed somebody. I did my prison sentence. I got out. It's not like, oh, you guys can't bring up that time I killed that guy. You know, it was a mistake. I feel bad about it. But no, it's going to sit with you forever. And the Powertown stink's going to sit for Magnum forever as well. That is just very unfortunate. But we're probably going to be moving on in the Powertown updates for Magnum TA and Greg Gagne, unfortunately, unless they do more interviews on this, because there's going to be nothing to talk about or look in their direction, which is a little scary because those two were the easiest to see and get a hold of as far as this stuff goes. I don't know what's going to happen in the future because Steve talks, but it's only in replies in Facebook group messages that you have to pay to be in that Facebook group. So that doesn't make a lot of sense, and that doesn't make me feel real good about things either. But we do have Donnie Anderson. And yes, we've talked about Donnie Anderson. Go to the Powertown website. Former TRU employee. He's got a lot of industry knowledge, as we do know. And I talked about Steve trying to drum up some financial supporters. Well, we're in luck this week, as I did hear a few things. I don't know if anybody else heard this, and I got video to prove it. Donnie Anderson came through, and he came through with some investors from Powertown, and they even did a celebration, which, as much as I dog on Powertown, it's amazing they invite me to these things consistently, Todd McFarlane. But here we were. We went to a high school gym. You know, those rent pretty cheap with a little small donation. But we went to a high school gym, and Donnie was there, and he led his group of investors. About you guys and gals out there, but I'm sold. These investors look solid. They look like they can turn the ship here, right the ship, get the Remcos on the way, and then we can start working on the Ultras and the TNA figures. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But at best, if they started, they've cut steel, but if they start producing them, I mean, you're looking at probably this time in 2027 that we're going to get our TNA figures and our Ultra Series 2 at best at this point. Maybe there's hope for Remco. You know, Remco, if they ship, and they're definitely going by boat, they're not going by air. You're looking at 3 months and then another week or two. You're looking for end of summer at best if they ship right now. So I don't think anything's coming from Powertown any sooner. They did also mention, I keep saying they, but Magnum. Does Magnum go by they and them? You know, I had a thing one time at work where they said, Kyle, if you want to put in your signature emails that you're they or them, I said, I'm just going to leave my name. It's Kyle Peterson. I'm just good with that. I think people will get the judge on that. But I don't know, Magnum going by they, apparently, from where I sit. And once again, I sit right here. But Magnum did mention the Gloob MLW figures, but he also mentioned they were looking at making retro Hasbro-style figures over there. So, yeah, I don't know. We could see those maybe in 2030. Are we all going to be alive then? Are the aliens going to take over by then? Yeah, we'll see what happens. But that's it for the Powertown update this week. But as our old friend Jerry Reed always says, toy news to dive in. This has been too long of an episode. Are you still with me, people? Are you still with me? Grab a monster, grab a cup of coffee. Let's continue on. Outside of wrestling, I missed this one. I was over at our friends Jay's Toys and Games. I was picking up some stuff, and I totally spaced, and I missed out on the PowerCon exclusive Big Bad Toy Store Anti-Eternia He-Man. I got on there about 5 minutes, and I knew it was going to be too late, so I missed out on that figure. Was not meant to be. I'm sure a lot of other people missed out as well. Now you got to go to PowerCon to get that. And I'm on the fence. I could maybe be convinced to go to PowerCon. We'll see what ends up happening later this year. We also, speaking of He-Man, we saw Mattel Creations going to be a big month in April. 4 different orders going on. We do know next week, Chronicles Edition, King Grayskull. And why is King Grayskull white, Todd McFarlane? He's a black guy. We know that. What? He was white before, then he went black. Now he's back to white. I see what you're doing, Mattel. You're playing all the angles here. Why can't King Grayskull be a Samoan? Why can't he be? Why? I don't understand it. Why can't he be Lebanese? Why can't we mix it up? Let's just give him a different race every single time. But apparently King Grayskull for the Chronicles line is back to being a white guy. So, I don't know. Choose your own adventure. I guess choose your own skin color adventure, whatever it is. But he is a white guy and he is coming. Looks pretty good. A favorite of mine. Can't wait to dive into that one there. We also saw Origins Beastman. That'll be a Creations Deluxe exclusive later here in April. That one is movie edition, which looks a little suspect. I guess we'll see how it goes. But man, they're milking this movie. This movie better take off or we're going to see the year of Ross clearance on He-Man figures the next couple of years. So we'll see where that goes. We got Beastman around the corner. There was also a fun thing on the Masters of the Universe movie site where you could turn yourself into an Eternian hero or a Skeletor minion or something. And I did it. And here's my picture. Apparently this is me in Eternia. And my name is like Tidron. I don't even know how to pronounce my own name. It's crazy. Why couldn't I just be Kyle? But yeah, I'm Tidron apparently. But very convenient for me, Todd McFarlane. Did you see below there? It says, I am the apprentice to Ram Man. And I'm going to show you my Ram Man tricks later, Todd McFarlane. You better watch out from the couch. It's going to get messy. I can tell you that much. But I'm apparently a Ram Man. And my wife calls me Ram Man every once in a while, too. So if the shoe fits, wear it. And I'm just an apprentice to Ram Man. I hope I can do him proud. But check that out, of course, if you want to masterize yourself or whatever they do call it. But my name's Tidron going forward. And I'll forget that after this video. I'll never remember that name. We did see our friends over there at NECA this week. Chucky Child's Play 2 edition. Got to get the most out of your Chucky molds. We got another Chucky coming to the hunt there. And I remember getting that one at a movie store when I was a little kid. My little sister loved Chucky. And she was probably 8. I was probably 10. And we were watching Child's Play 2. Living the dream with Chucky. Old Charles Lee Ray. So Chucky memories. There you go. Looking good. And then we did see the NECA convention exclusives, which felt very early this year for pre-orders. And it says convention exclusive. So does that mean it's San Diego and New York? I don't know exactly the readout there. They didn't really specifically say, but I'm assuming, we know what happens when we assume, Todd McFarlane, that it is San Diego Comic-Con. We did see the Ben Cooper Kid glow-in-the-dark mummy figure. That's a must-have for me. I picked that up. A little stiff, though. $35, that glow-in-the-dark. Oof, $35 on that one. We did see the Batman for the cloth edition 8-inch scale figures. I know a lot of people are excited about this line, and I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed when they do get those ones. Those aren't my favorite NECA figures. They look a little less than. They do look great. They always make them look good in the promotional images because they want you to buy them, obviously. But I just feel like there's something lost in translation, and they're not as good as I'd like them to be. Your mileage may vary, but this Batman was an easy pass for me. And then the one that got a lot of people up in arms, $150, NECA 4-pack Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, black and white editions of the 2012 Turtles. A lot of people up in arms because of the extra heads and accessories being in color, and those are obviously for the ones that are out on store shelves right now. People feel like they're being forced to buy this to get those, and a little bit of bait and switch with the convention showing those heads and accessories on those turtles. They thought they were going to come with those. They did not. There's a lot of upset turtle fans out there around that. So we'll see where that ends up shaking out, where that ends up going. But that was an easy pass for me too. The 2012 Turtles isn't my era of Turtles. I did buy them. They've been sitting over here in a pile. I need to unbox them. I'll probably get to it on one of my YouTube channels. Subscribe to both of them. I will unbox those, but I'm done with that line. That's as far as I needed to go in that line. So I'm not going to pick these ones up. Now, if these did go to a deep discount clearance one day, maybe I'd look at them. But for me right now, it is a pass at $150. But a lot of people are very upset about that one, and I do understand the feedback people are given. I talked about it earlier, GI Joe live stream, April 1st edition, of course, April Fool's Day, and they weren't fooling me with that Despoiler and Destro. A lot of people upset about the 110 price point. I get it, but that's the world we live in now. It's another, we've had this over the last 6 years of the channel where there's been price increases, and it always is tough because you're always thinking of the last price. So it's like you're hard to wrap your head around the new pricing. And then the minute you get your head wrapped around the new pricing, it goes up again. And that's just not action figures. That's everything. Still to this day, I feel like I should go be able to buy a brand new Jeep Wrangler for like $25,000, but it's like $70,000 now. It's just ridiculous to me. I said, no, I'm always paying $25,000. Whatever. But it is a little tough, and I know some people were upset about it. I did do the video on it. Check it out. It's on the channel. I did it on April 1st. Marvel Legends this week, we saw shirtless Wolverine. Oh, playing all the hits. Target exclusive shirtless Wolverine. And I gotta say, all the stores, including Jay's, have these X-Men, I guess the Wolverine Deadpool movie from Marvel Legends. Those figures are all over the place right now. And now we finish up the toy news. We turn to our friend from the couch, Todd McFarlane. And Todd coming in this week, a little Mortal Kombat GameStop exclusive Jade Red Platinum Edition. And apparently McFarlane Week is coming up at GameStop. Gonna see what else we got. So far, the stuff we've seen, Todd, no offense, it's just not stuff I collect. So I didn't really pay too much attention. But we should see some stuff and some sales at least at GameStop. Get your $5 credit in, whatever it may be. So we did see that. We did see the Supergirl movie wave, so that kind of came out of left field. I guess we knew it would come. But we did see Supergirl from the TV show 2015, which is interesting in the mix. We saw Supergirl from the movie, and then a Walmart Supergirl from the movie with Crypto and the jacket on. We saw Krem, apparently the villain in the movie, and then Lobo and Lobo's bike. Have to imagine Lobo's going to be pretty popular. Check out Kyle Peterson 2.0 yesterday on the channel for the Lobo DC McFarlane unboxings. I unboxed the regular and platinum yesterday. So if you need a little bit more Lobo in your life, that's where you can go. So I thought those looked okay. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that wave. Kind of like the last Superman one, I wasn't so sure. I'm not so sure with the Supergirl. I guess I'll wait and see what's going on. And then this week, a little surprise out there at retail. Miss Martian Page Puncher hitting Target store. So somebody found that at Target. I give you kudos, Todd McFarlane, because I loved the days when I was a kid. I'd walk into a store, didn't even know this existed. It was a nice surprise. We don't get that very often. And here's this Miss Martian just chilling on the pegs. Didn't know it was coming out anytime soon. And there it is. No pre-order, no nothing. There it is on the peg. Something fun about that. So we want to enjoy our action figures as much as we can in all aspects, be it ordering, be it displaying, be it unboxing, whatever it may be. But one of the big things is finding it at store level and being surprised at store level. There is some fun to that. At least for me, there is. So there it is, though. The toy news this week. A big toy news this week. Anything extra exciting for you out there? Anything you can't wait to see? Anything you can't wait to have in your collection? Let me know in the comments down below. You made it this far. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell as we got videos every single day. And then some. You know it. And then some. We got plenty to keep you busy. Patreon, YouTube channel memberships, your best way to support the channel. Check out the giveaway. SirPaul64 on the X, the _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and TheKylePetersonShow at gmail.com, which is the name of my podcast, The Kyle Peterson Show. Available every Tuesday wherever podcasts are found, with video cast on YouTube. So for another week of the toy news, you know what I'm doing? I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into another weekend.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?